Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's video. Today is Friday, March 28th, 2014. Let's get right to the SPY. It looks like it's really trying to hold this previous uh, resistance and support right now. It's bouncing here, but I think it's going to break one way or the other in the coming days. See, it's kind of consolidating here. It's actually consolidating in a bullish manner, but let's see how it all plays out. The weekly chart's no damage there, even though we're just in this tight range. It's kind of confirms down the weekly chart, just making kind of a pennant or a consolidation pattern here. So let's see if it wants to break higher. I have a downside bias to some of these stocks, so if I want those to play out, so I do have a little bit bias to the downside actually. If I want those charts to play out, let's look at the monthly very quickly. That's the weekly close. Monthly, maybe if you make a doji on the monthly chart, which I don't know if that actually by Monday will that start the new month? No, we still have one more day in this month, so I think that's a good chance. If it makes a doji here, we could start seeing some selling pressure and at least retest the 175 in SPY because anytime you make these narrow candles on a monthly, see how you made a narrow candle here, pulled back. So I think definitely Monday if we pause and trade sideways and make this narrow candle, I think we have a good chance to decline next week and next month for nice profits right there. And that kind of confirms the charts that I'm seeing on Amazon, Citi Group, and Ford. Those are my top selections for short bias. Okay, so right now the SPY is still holding that this trend line here. Try to get it, try to close it below, but it still have the 50 rising. So if this, watch for this 20. If it starts to curl down, that could be your first sign. See, that's kind of flattening out, and it looks like it wants to kind of curl over, and maybe this wants to roll over and break this 50. And then your next spot, really for me, is going to be this 200. I've just been saying it day after day. Let's go to IWM. IWM did make another, narrow candle, but if it doesn't start bouncing here, yeah, it's pretty weak. It closed back the lows today, but these could be a signal of a bounce, okay? But it didn't recapture the 50, so just watch this the next few days. If it starts to make a base here sideways, it might want to continue into the continuation of this trend, which is currently it's starting to, in the shorter term, it's starting to go down, but on a daily chart, it's still fine. But right now, look at the 200 right here. Okay, same as the SPY. But watch how this plays out. Right now, it's like 50-50. Well, it's about 50-50. I mean, you want to see it bullish. If it makes a narrow candle, then recaptures the 50-day right away. Right now, it just kind of it tried to and it failed. So I think tomorrow is going to be a very, very important day. Okay, watch Monday. If it can't get back above, I'm thinking it's going to go to the downside. Okay, let's look at the Qs really quickly. Same candle, narrow candle on the Qs as well. Let's look at Facebook. I called for a bounce on Facebook as well. Did get a nice intraday bounce. Been just kind of pulled back right here. So very important. It's holding this trend line here. It's holding the moving averages on the weekly chart. So watch this trend line on Facebook. If we pull up the weekly chart, you can clearly show it's riding the 20-week moving average, which should be minor now because it's been hitting it a few times now. So let's see what kind of pattern it makes on a weekly chart. I think in the next few days we're really going to see some really strong evidence of where this market's headed. Notice the volume to increase on this drop. So this could be a breakdown. Your first major support on the weekly chart is 45 bucks. I mean, that's a buy with both hands kind of mentality. It's also looks like the IPO high as well. So this is how you line up, trade levels and setups. Okay, look at this beautiful level here. That was the high. Now it's support. Support. Now you have the 45 even number and the rising 20-week moving average, which has never been tested really since this uptrend. So that's going to be a beautiful spot there on Facebook. Watch out for that if it does get there in the coming weeks. Okay, let's go over Twitter. Twitter is bouncing pretty nicely. I think it has one more day bounce here on Twitter, but this is going to be resistance. Maybe it wants to retest this $50 level. Simple resistance, now support, now resistance again. Maybe it wants to line up with this 20 moving average. This is your trend now, looking very weak on Twitter. Okay, you don't really want to pick up a counter trend trade unless it's really extended. Right now, it's not too extended away from it. It's pretty extended. It needs to probably come back. But this is gonna be your first resistance on Twitter. $50. Just pretty much getting a counter trend bounce right now. Okay, so watch the $50 level. If it recaptures that, yeah, might be making a, maybe a bottoming pattern here, with a, low here and a lower low and a higher low here. So watch out for $50. That's going to be very important to see if it recaptures that on the daily close. Okay, let's look at Amazon. Amazon is kind of looks like it wants to flirt around with that 200 moving average. Sometimes it doesn't bounce right away. Sometimes it makes it very difficult. Sometimes it's not that easy. Maybe it wants just to dance around here and finally decide if it wants to bounce off the level and break down. But right now, it's really just testing that 200. You'd really like to see some follow through today. So I'll give it one more day if it can, if it can do it. And from there, if it keeps consolidating, and who knows how long it could take. It could probably take a week, 7 weeks. It could probably just break one way or the other. But you'd like to see some follow through the first next day, which I like to see right off for makes a nice recapture of the 200. But it didn't do that. So let's see how it reacts tomorrow. I think tomorrow is gonna be a very important sign to look for. Okay. That is Amazon.com. It's called out this bearish flag. It has a little bit more ways to go, so you have to be very cautious and be aware of that. It could bounce before that and then get a nice another counter trend bounce before heading. Maybe it wants to retest the trend line. Who knows? You have to just wait for the setup, wait for the pattern to show itself, and then react. Right now, not much to do. If you're in it, just know how to manage it. That's all you got to do. Let's look at Ford. Ford is my top pick. Still hasn't played out yet, but I think it has a good chance next week. Okay, just based off the weekly chart. Daily chart looks fine. It had a nice little bounce today. But on the weekly chart, the bigger time frame, it is showing a nice doji candle. Wow, this is pretty much picture perfect. I mean, you're getting a declining 20-week moving average, so that could be your stop out, or you can stop out above the $16 level, which is the 200, and it's the high of this candle, or you can stop out here if you're a little more risky. But you don't want to be 1-to-1, risk reward ratio. You want to have a higher reward, lower risk trade. So the stop out would be pretty much close on the short side would be a close above these moving averages, and your first target would be the 200. Okay, this is actually looking really nice. Okay, very very nice, beautiful right now. Okay, perfect setup, picture perfect. I'm waiting for this to play out. I'm in it. I'm pretty much break even right now, but right now it's looking beautiful. I'm in the money a little bit, but first target once again is 1330 at the 200, and you can even play for a bounce right there on Ford Motor. See, if you're a trader, you're not trying to marry a stock here. You're just trying to get in on the moves based off these patterns, based off all these technical factors, which I like to call them X factors, and that's why this is xfactortrader.com, and that's what you look for when you trade these charts. Okay, guys, let's go over. So that's my number one pick. Let's go over Citi Group. Citi Group should be same chart. Let's see how. Oh, this is looking very beautiful as well. Had a nice reversal candle on high volume. Try to break out. Nice little engulfing pattern, almost an engulfing pattern there on the candlesticks. Daily charts, look at it. Gap down, beautiful. No, look at a doji here. It looks like it wants to kind of hover above this trend line. It's just break down. I think that's my bias right now, just based off the overall trend. I mean, this is a huge move here, and you're getting a nice consolidation pattern. Maybe it needs to bake a little bit more. Maybe it needs to bounce a few more times. But look at the moving averages. That's what's the number one key you have to look at in a chart. See, these are starting to come, in a downward fashion. You just got to be really aware of that. If it can't recapture those, well, watch out for the downside. This has quite a bit of way to go to fulfill its target on Citi Group. Let's look at JP Morgan, some of these other financials, and see how they're doing. See, you look at relative strength. Look at JP Morgan, one of the leaders in the financial market. It's doing fine, it's still above the moving averages. Let's look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart still no problem. Made a doji candle for the week, but nothing to write home about. And then you compare it to something like Citi Group. See, these are the ones you want to take advantage of. These weak stocks. Okay, you don't want to be picking on the strong ones. You want to be picking when you have a negative bias in the market. You always want to look for the weakest charts. And Citigroup, Ford, are all Amazon already played out. But these are the charts you look for. Okay, guys. XLF. Let's see how it did at that double bottom. Should have got a nice little bounce today. On a daily chart, just probably a one-day bounce. Like I said, a nice little. It didn't quite get there, so it bounced before that. But it looks like it wants to make a little pattern here. Let's see how it all plays out on the XLF, which is the financial index ETF. Is there anything else I want to take a look at? I know there's something else. Let me just think for a second. Tesla. Go over Tesla really quick. And let's see what we got here. It's bouncing off the 50-day. Nothing much going there. Made a nice narrow candle. A lot of these stocks made narrow candles, so be aware that that is usually a turning point at support or resistance, and we did make one of those today. Let's look at Google. Google, I'm guessing it got a nice bounce intraday and then probably closed back at the low. See, all these stocks are making the same candle. These usually are very, believe it or not, are bullish. If it hits support, but you like to see some follow through. Okay, that's why tomorrow is going to be a very important day. That's why I've been calling it based off the monthly close as well. Okay, so tomorrow will be the monthly close. I'm sorry, Monday will be the monthly close for these charts. So every Friday, I like to look at the weekly close because that's the weekly close of a candle. I like to see what candle formed for that week, and it's very important. It's pretty much giving you the next piece of the puzzle. So every day you want to check daily close. Every week you want to check the weekly close, and every month you want to check the monthly close of that candle. Just gives you another piece of that puzzle. Okay, guys. I think that's everything I want to go after today. I wanted to point out. Is there anything else? Look at EA. EA, I did call out for a topping candle on the I believe it was the weekly chart. I believe let's go to the weekly chart. Same stuff. Narrow candle, reversal. Like it's not. It's not. Once you know how to read these charts, it's not really that difficult. See, narrow candle. Call this out on Twitter and my Stock Twits account. Check those out, guys. At the website. See, narrow candle, call this out to my colleague, and sure enough, this week got a nice bearish pullback, increased volume too. So let's see if it continues to the downside. This should be a multi-week high. Okay, put in as long as it doesn't close back above the high of this candle, which is $30.56. That's high. I called it out here as well. I believe it made a monthly topping tail as well. I think that was the high for quite some time. If I could find it. I'm not sure where it is on this chart now. It might have been here. Actually, it's right here. It's right. Same is right. It's actually right. And look at this too. If you make a monthly topping tail, wow, that's why tomorrow is going to be so important, guys. I'm good. I'm happy I actually pulled up the monthly chart in this as well. Wow, if you make this is a beautiful doji candle. Beautiful, and it needs to pull back. I mean, it needs to pull. Look at the 200. It's been riding it. Had a tremendous move already. So hey, if this actually makes this candle, prints this candle by Monday, I'm gonna be shorting this as well. Oh yes. Oh yes, I'm shorting this right here. Look at this. You get two signals. Monthly chart, you got a topping tail doji. Weekly chart, you got one too. Are you kidding me? Okay. That's what happened here as well. Okay. A few months ago when I made this one, I called out a high. That was a short term. What's a 5 months? 5 month. That was the high for 5 months. Held for 5 months until breaking out. But if it makes another candle here, like this, woo, watch out below. Okay. Your first support, obviously, with this double bottom, that's where you would pick it up again, $20. But wow, that's going to be very, 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 very important. Okay, off that 200 moving average on the monthly chart, wow, that's powerful, very, very powerful. And technically, it's a third hit too. So if you guys know about three hits, it's a little bit of Elliott wave in there too. If 3 hits, wow, that's coming in. Okay, that's EA. Beautiful profits this week. I can't imagine you guys not joining us and just join the success we have here at xfactortrader.com. Please visit our website. We have a free 15-day trial for the gold membership for swing traders and investors. Pretty much I go over these same charts but in more detail. I'll give out more alerts like the free alert I gave on Ford, stuff like that. Really beautiful profits to come. Okay, guys, I hope you guys check us out at xfactortrader.com. I will see you guys later. Have a great weekend.